My name is Nickel, and as I'm sure all of you guys know by now, Sombra has officially been announced by Blizzard via her own animated short. This video is going to be a recap of a lot of the stuff that I saw at Blizzcon today, in 3 general parts. The first part being everything from the announcement itself, the second part being the Overwatch specific panel where we got more details, and the third part will be about where I actually got to play Sombra. Let's start from the top. In the morning, during BlizzCon's opening ceremony, Mike Morhaime presented a video looking back on the launch of Overwatch. But during that video, it started glitching out and I tried to record it the best I could, but my reaction time was too slow to catch it before everything went black. Basically, while the normal video was playing, it glitched out 1 or 2 times and I knew something was happening, so I grabbed the camera, but then everything went black. And that's when I started filming. And then as soon as I was filming, the whole thing majorly glitched out and went into the Sombra animated short, which was the first time anyone had ever seen it in the entire world. Besides people working on it, obviously. But anyway, this is what it looked like from my perspective. So then of course it jumped into the animated short, and as a lot of you guys probably saw, it basically left us with a twist. Sombra was supposed to help Reaper and Widowmaker take out Miss Volskaya, but instead, Sombra gets Miss Volskaya alone and basically blackmails her by saying that she has photos of Miss Volskaya getting her tech from the enemy, aka Omnix. And so if she doesn't do favors for Sombra, she'll release the photos publicly. And so Miss Volskaya has no choice but to do whatever Sombra wants in the future. So then, Sombra boops her on the nose and teleports out of there, only to tell Reaper that the mission failed and that the target escaped. So after watching the animated short, the boop makes a bit more sense, because you guys probably remember seeing the boop in a recent piece of the ARG, as well as the boop Halloween spray. She hacked the Halloween boo spray to make it boop, just like she boops in the ARG and twice in the animated short. There's also a visual boop hidden in one of the photos that are framed on the desk. Anyway, at the end of the short, Zarya reveals herself, and Miss Volskaya asks her if she knows why she's there, and Zarya says that she does know why she's there. So yeah, this got released during the opening ceremony, and the crowd goes wild. It was the first time we ever got a clear indication of exactly what Sombra's abilities were, and as you can probably pull from the short, the going invisible, teleporting, and being able to hack things became clear that they were part of Sombra's kit. Oh, and also during the opening ceremony, they announced that you would get this Oni Genji skin in Overwatch by playing 15 games of Heroes of the Storm. The details about this are already on the Heroes website, but Heroes of the Storm is a really fun game, so I'll definitely be doing this and getting the Oni Genji skin. So on to the next section. Part 2. So before I even went to go play Sombra, the main stage where the opening ceremony was happening turned into the big Overwatch panel right after it. And in that panel, they were going to go over a bunch of details. So instead of leaving to do anything, I just wanted to get as close of a seat as possible so I wouldn't have to zoom in so far for photos and videos. I got a lot more footage here, so I'm just going to show you a lot of that instead of trying to explain every single little thing. If you guys were following me on Twitter today, you probably saw a bunch of tweets from this section, so I'll just go over them real quick in a rapid fire style before I show you the actual footage where they talk about this. This one's an image I took of the first legendary skin they showed us for Sombra. It's labeled here as Los Muertos Skin. She has pink hair and the Los Muertos signature style of bones painted on her body. The ones painted onto her here are a bright green color. They showed off this Sombra early concept art that actually looks really good in my opinion, very different from the finalized art, and they talked about a new map called Oasis that's supposed to have jump pads, which will definitely be an interesting mechanic to mess around with on that map. Then they showed us the second legendary Sombra skin called Cyberspace. It's very blue. Okay, so now since I actually have some of this footage recorded, I edited down some of the interesting highlights for you guys to check out. So here are some of the chopped up highlights.
Way before even like Hanzo and Genji, we had this idea, I think Jeff had an idea called the Omni Blade, which was like this throwing dagger, throwing star hero. And we did a sketch of her, and we thought it was really cool. Like she had all these like throwing knives, as you can see in the image there. She had more of a Mexican theme, and that's where we came up with the name Sombra. As you can see, she's kind of this very agile, very stealthy hero, but it ended up stepping on some of the, or her abilities ended up going to some of the more well-known Shimano brother heroes, right?
That ability to throw a dagger and it would reveal people. You guys know that now it's Hanzo's Son arrow. So she was real early on, and she never really got past the paper design stage. Actually, she was just sort of one up and coming when they were going to do. But once we started getting into the ninjas, they couldn't help but pillage some of those ideas in there.
Yeah, the Shimano bros spoils everyone's fun. One of our other heroes, Ana, and Ana was also a hero that had a very had a silhouette that used a hood and a longer jacket. So we felt like because their silhouettes started getting very similar, we decided to steer Sombra a little bit further away from that, and that ended up with our concept for Sombra today. So this is the final concept of Sombra by Ben Zhang. Ben did basically all of the concept art for Sombra, developed all the abilities and look for her. Again, like you can see, she still has that stealth suit, the thermoptic camo suit, and also her hacking tendrils. And the hacking tendrils was one of it was a very cool, very cyberpunky aesthetic that we looked really excited about, but we were kind of uncertain how it would work with gameplay. But then Ben did some very cool motion concepts, and here's an example of how kind of developed the look of the hacking tendrils in a first-person kind of concept, and also a look at the concept for Sombra's thermoptic camo, which is an ability that allows her to be stealth and totally unseen to the enemy, but allies still need to see her. So we had to come up with a look that allies can see you, but you still look stealth. That she'd be hacking along with her left hand. And here's an example of some of the more detailed concepts we do of her kind of hacking hand and how all those details work together. And we also have the concept of her translocator, which some of you guys might recognize from the cinematic we just showed, and actually has a very familiar shape to it.
Yeah, let's just say that Lisa and Tracer are not big fans of Sombra's work.
He hacks everything. Sombra also has the machine pistol, which Jeff will talk a little bit more about on the gameplay side, but on the art side, we're really excited to have this type of weapon because the SMG kind of machine pistol look resonated a lot with the kind of cyberpunk theme, and also worked really well gameplay-wise. Here's a sneak peek for Sombra's other legendary skin, the cyberspace skin. This one's by Zheng Ali, and we love the cyberpunk aesthetic so much we wanted to double down on it and show an alternate take on how Sombra might look like in the Overwatch universe. So that's just a little bit of the art behind Sombra.
And Genji's original design was the super kind of slow stealth kind of backstabber who would like stealth up behind you and just one-shot you. You know, it's like that's sort of the what everyone expects. It's not really that fun, as it turns out. We got a lot of interesting feedback from people internally. And it's like, all right, well maybe we need to go in another direction here. So we sort of decided that another really cool fantasy for Genji would be what we sort of had originally planned for Somber, really fast, get in, get out, throwing projectiles, things like that. It worked out really well for him, so it sort of ended up shelving the concept of Sombra for a while. But we really liked the concept and some of the original abilities still, so we sort of knew we would want to come back to it at some point. And especially we know that like stealth is a really fun mechanic. A lot of people really like it in games, so we wanted to try to revisit it, even though it didn't work out the first time we tried it. So we sort of built her with the idea that, well, if we want to start with a stealth character, and we don't want her to be terrible to play against, what does that mean? So we thought, well, the biggest thing is she's not going to be as lethal as, a Reaper up close or a Tracer up close or something. She can't have that. She can have other tools that an Infiltrator type character would love to have, so...
This panel is also where they played Sombra's origin story, and that's the video that shows a piece of her backstory, where she learned to hack as a young girl, and then learned that information was power, so she kept hacking everyone she could. There's a scene in there where this is happening to her back, and she says, "When your hardware is obsolete, it's time to upgrade." This whole piece ends with her saying that she'll find out who really runs the world, what their weaknesses are, and how to exploit them. And then on this still image, we see Miss Volskaya, the Omnic she traded with, Widowmaker, and then the triad of Anna, Soldier 76, and Reaper, all young and connected, and then again they're shown older and apart, as well as a bunch of other Overwatch heroes. Then she just concludes by saying, "Who is Sombra? You'll never know." So all in all, it doesn't actually tell us that much about her origin story, other than she liked to hack a lot as a kid, and she had some sort of relationship with Los Muertos, but it's still a really interesting video. Okay, now we're into part 3. So after all of that, I went to go play as Sombra, and here's a quick breakdown of her abilities. Her left click is just called Machine Pistol, it just shoots. The dev said that it was designed to have less burst damage than Tracer's gun, but have a much larger magazine, so you'll be reloading less often. The right click, or your secondary, is Hack, where basically it prevents the enemy from being able to use their abilities for a short time. She can also hack first aid kits, which make them unusable to opponents, or even hack Torbjorn's turrets. Her shift is Thermoptic Camo. She becomes invisible for a short period of time, and her speed goes way up. It's a true speed boost. There were a lot of situations when I was playing and I thought I was going to die, but then I hit shift and I got way out of there before the invisibility even wore off because the speed was that much faster. Translocator is her E. She throws out this Translocator beacon and can instantly return to the beacon's location while it's active, even if it's still in mid-flight, which obviously sounds like people are going to find some interesting exploits with this, but this thing actually gives you a countdown once you throw it, so you know how long you have before you can't teleport anymore. And her ultimate is EMP. She discharges electromagnetic energy in a wide radius, destroying enemy barriers and shields, and also hacks all opponents caught in the blast. Most of the games were all Sombras versus more Sombras, so it's really hard to give a clear opinion on whether or not Sombra is good because I haven't been able to play her in a normal game. But even in those all Sombra games, it was still a lot of fun. One of the biggest things that I noticed was that with that many Sombras, it kind of just became a game of who could get to the health packs first, because whoever got there first would hack the health pack, and since no teams were running healers, if you didn't have the health pack hacked for your team, then you probably had no way of healing unless you walked really far to another health pack that may or may not be hacked also. One of the things that I got a feeling for while playing it is that the people that get really good using the E, the Translocator, are probably going to be really hard to deal with in general, because she can throw the Translocator and then just teleport to wherever that thing goes. So you can obviously imagine some interesting situations where theoretically it's just very hard to hit Sombra, because if she's not teleporting somewhere, she's turning invisible. Or if she's standing behind you, she's hacking you, so you can't use your abilities. So the main thing I wanted to say was that I'm going to be going back to Blizzcon Day 2 today, the day that you're watching this video, and I'll be able to play a lot more Sombra. So if you guys have anything you specifically want me to test out, now is the time to write it down below in the comments, because before I start playing again, I'll read the comments to try out whatever you guys want me to try out down below in the comments. And even if I end up playing for a few hours, I'll still come back to the comments to refresh the page to see if you guys posted anything new for me to try out. So let me know down below in the comments, what would you like me to test out, and I'll choose a couple of those things and test them out, and then I'll let you guys know on Twitter or just an upcoming video in general. So if I do end up making a video like that, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss that video. And if you don't know how to do that, all you have to do is hit this bell, check this box, and push save. That way, as soon as something happens, you'll get a notification and I'll tell you all about it. And that's all for today, guys. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. And if you haven't checked out some of these other videos on the channel, you can click on them to check them out, whether you're on PC or on mobile. Either way, it still works now. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.